think it's more to do with COVID than the global supply chain. So there is an argument to be made that right now it's not just with the after effects of COVID, but after the companies had raised their prices, they realized that people would be willing to pay for it one way or another. And so they just kind of maintained their higher profit margins. And if you actually look at like stocks and stock markets, you can see that that the value of these stocks have risen drastically. And the reason why is because, well, they're just reaping in a lot more profits. And so you have to ask yourself, it's like, I mean, to me, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, that's a bad thing. We want government to crack down on that and make sure that that's like not a thing. But at the same time, it's also like a pretty unpragmatic policy to expect because there's plenty of people who are making money off of the stock market. And so what I'm going to suggest to anybody is open up a brokerage account. And what I want you to do is invest in a decent ETF, right? Talk to a financial advisor. Don't listen to some dick on YouTube, right? Talk to a financial advisor. But seriously, like there is no reason why in like 40 years you shouldn't be the bourgeoisie. Like the very fact is that companies are making money hand over fist, and there's zero reason why you should not get a piece of the proceeds on the basis of dividends on the shares that you own in a company. That's obvious. Like this is just like from a pragmatic aspect. Use your brain and become the bourgeoisie. You don't have to suffer your whole life. A lot of people think like, and I swear to God, there are people, I swear, they say, with what money? How am I going to... Motherfucker, if you have an iPhone, you can buy Apple stock, right? Apple stock isn't as expensive as an iPhone. Apple stock isn't as expensive as a PS5. So if you're buying shit like that, you can buy fucking stock, right? Don't give me that bullshit, okay? And it goes up over time, and it compounds. There's zero reason to not do it. Anyway. Nobody has raised their hand yet, so we'll play a little bit more of Dark Souls. There's a little bit of a rant I have there for stocks and stock markets. But if you disagree with me, if you think, man, this guy 1stAmender, he's a freaking butthole. He's just wrong about all this, and so I'd be more than happy to hear you out if you have anything to say about that. I say work towards your retirement, work towards making your life better, and not stay on Discord and be doom and gloom all the time and say, man, if only all of society around me will change. Because the reality is it's probably not going to change anytime soon. Corporations are going to still make money hand over fist, and they're going to do it at the expense of workers. They're going to always be doing this over and over. What are you going to do? In fact, if I'm not mistaken, stock markets were initially an idea in favor of the workers because workers could purchase like a portion ownership of the company. And guess what? When you own a portion of ownership of the company, you get to vote. All right. Trinket says, stocks can go down too. Most people sure have the money to get things like phones because you need them to work and function in capitalism in 2024, but they don't have money to risk throwing it away as stocks could just crash. That's correct. Stocks could, in fact, crash. So I'm going to list you. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to feed you, baby bird. I'm going to feed you, okay, that there are stocks that, in general, again, talk to your financial advisor. In general, they go up, okay? And they have been going up for decades, and they don't stop going up. Is it a very boring investment? The answer is yes. It's a very boring investment. We're not talking Tesla stocks. We're not talking the newest Bitcoin. Pepper, you got to move. You got to like, fuck. She's like biting the shit out of my hand. We're not talking about Bitcoin. We're not talking about like the biggest, the next biggest investment trend. I'm talking about really, really boring companies that just continuously make money. Okay. So I'm gonna link some in chat so you can see. I'll give you some tickers. Okay. So one of them that I really like, it's called QQQ. I'll link it here. QQQ. Okay. Look up the ticker for QQQ, right? And I want you to look at like the max, okay? This stock doesn't stop going up. It's a perpetual up, okay? I agree with you. There's instances like 2008 where it goes down, but guess what happens right after? It goes back up, right? So just hodling for as long as you can, this is an example of just benefit, right? Another one. What's another one? McDonald's Corporation. McDonald's Corporation just recently saw like a sudden huge downturn. But in general, when you look at McDonald's Corporation stock, McDonald's goes up. Over the course of like 30 or 40 years, it has gone up 10,455%. Do you know why? Because McDonald's isn't going anywhere. It's not. It's really not. It's going to keep doing what it does, and it's going to keep making money hand over fist, right? It's the biggest real estate firm in the world. It's not going anywhere, right? Unless if some crazy shit happens. So I again, talk to your financial advisor, you know, and me personally, I invest in like ETFs and stuff where it's like an ETF is just an electronic trade fund, where basically it just means that you have a series of companies that are all kind of mushed together into one. There's ones that are like really heavy into like tech. There's ones that are just like, all right, this is just the US economy. So like generally, if you just like look at these overall trends, you'll see that there are companies that just kind of keep going up. That's your examples of like of your blue chip stocks, where it's like they keep making profit day in and day out. They don't seem to like lose out, right? So this is what I'm referring to, right? It's not a gamble. It doesn't have to be a gamble. You don't have to make it a gamble. Stocks on their own, with like where people remove that gamble mentality, they end up becoming really boring, right? You're not thinking about like Wolf of Wall Street anymore. You're just like, oh, I gained 0.5% today. And that's all you could ask for. You're just like the 0.5%, that was it. But like the thing is it compounds over time. And my dude, if you're just investing like $10,000 now, 20 years into the future, that shit's worth 400 grand. I'm not messing with you. Like I could sit here and I can do like compounding calculators and show you how that works. Right? There's dividends that get made, and then the dividends can be reinvested into your stock portfolio. And yes, it compounds, and so it grows exponentially. So there's zero reason as to why you like somebody can't do it, unless if like, I don't know, like you're like homeless or something. Like yeah, this doesn't work for homeless people, but for like regular average Joe Schmoes, yes, this can work. This can pull you out of poverty easily. Fuck, now I gotta make this a YouTube video. Son of a bitch.